We don't try to figure it out. So as we address momentum in ministry, remember that it always takes an outside force for momentum to start, maintain, or to stop. In our discussion, we're addressing and discussing outside forces that constantly threaten the continuance of momentum in the church and the Lord's ministry. How do we keep going? How are you, as of this coming August, will be literally 54 years old as a church ministry? I can tell you of many of them that come through this city that started and stopped, was and is no more. So how do you keep momentum going? How do you keep maintenance going? How do you keep consistently moving forward? Not always as fast in moments as you are in other moments, but moving nonetheless. How do you keep momentum going? Well, know this, momentum is a powerful force. Just as momentum works in the natural world, momentum works in our ministries and spiritual lives. Yet it is rarely talked about. The loss of momentum takes place in churches daily all over the world. The loss causes untold disappointment, and frustration. A minister with great passion and vision will experience only so many disappointments and frustrations before they give in to disappointment, even doubting themselves and their calling. You can imagine saying to a tent full of people that you're going to do something no other person of color ever did. And Sister Silver was under that tent that night. Sister Christine was under the tent that night. Sister Deborah, Mother Bennett, Mother Smith, Mother Nance was under the tent that night. And they heard me say, God told me we're going on television. And they looked around and said, has he lost his natural born mind? And yet, I was emphatic. I was not just ecstatic, I was emphatic. I knew what God said, and I stood on what God said. And you could count the hands that went up to say, I do believe. And yet God did it. And opened that door, and we were on for 35 consecutive years, uninterrupted. But you got to have faith and confidence in a God who cannot fail. And everything God says will happen because he controls the narrative. He's sovereignly in charge. But in the process, if you allow people's non-belief, if you allow people to say, I can't see it, and I won't till I do, you're going to end up being disappointed, and nobody can do ministry effectively disappointed. If you're down and out, disgusted and busted, you lost your vim and vigor and zim, and lost your enthusiasm, you're going to hang on your laurels. You're going to defend your feeling. You're going to defend your thought. You're going to defend. Well, I just have to have more information than that. I'm not quite convinced. Can I tell you how many meetings I've been in with people who just can't see and don't understand, refuse to understand, and then sometimes they will go among people and seek out a consensus. How many of y'all like me believe it ain't going to happen? And the preacher's steady trying to write the vision, make it plain, get the folk to buy into it. And in that immediate moment, more times than not, the people they get excited about the possibility of it happening, but the reality of it happening is another discussion. You got to convince me, because you're asking me for time, talent, and mint. You want me to fund this. I don't mean F-U-N, I mean F-U-N-D. You want me to support this, and I don't see how. And we often start with, do you know how many of us there is? We don't have quite enough to do this and that and the other. I didn't have a dime for TV, but God funded it. I didn't have a lot of money to fly around the world, but God funded it. I was around the world before I was 30 years old, all over continents of the world. I didn't ask nobody about going to school. I just went. I registered. I went to Tennessee Temple on the GI Bill. I got called to the military preaching a revival in Nashville and called from the pulpit. My mother called to say, "You're in the army now." I said, "Ma'am, it's on Sunday night." "Yes, you're in the army now. You got to report at 8 in the morning at the induction center." I had to come back, go to the old post office, downtown Chattanooga, raise your hand if you're sure or not sure. You're in the army now. I went to military, processed to Knoxville to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. From there to Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas. And by the time we had finished AIT training, they tried to get me to re-enlist 18 more months so I could be a chaplain. And I told them I don't even want to be here, let alone stay here. They said, "You're in the army, sir." And so it's easier getting in than getting out. And they sure proved it to me. And so from there, the Lord blessed me. I ended up with a GI Bill, go to school, paid for, a student. Went from there to University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Studied religion and philosophy. And from there, I went to American University. All scholarship, never paid a dime of my own money to go to school. From there, I went to Breadloaf. From Breadloaf, International University. From International University, full ride to Oxford, and was called to go to Oxford from that office that our pastor now occupies, and met with Dr. Hollis Green, who was one of the adjunct professors at Oxford, along with Dr. Charles Stanley and some others. And lo and behold, full ride, $85,000+ a year, plus travel, plus lodging, plus everything. Never paid a dime, as yet haven't paid a dime for education. And I have a total of 17 earned degrees and 7 doctorates. But what if I stop listening to people? That's my point. People don't know to believe in you because they don't know you well enough to believe in you. They only know enough to doubt themselves. If I can't do it, I don't see how you gonna do it. Brother David may make a lot of money cutting hair in one of the nicest of the city. But what if he wake up in the morning and decide, I want to have my own shop? I don't want just a regular shop. I want to have one that's so massive they got a basketball court inside in the back. I want an aquarium that's wider than the church, with all kind of fish in it. Not only do I want that, I want to have 24 stations, 12 on that side, another 12 on this side. Rent out the booths, and I get an override over every booth. And I want to have motivational Monday. Then when they come in on Monday, since Mondays is a day off, I want to have motivation Monday and get them motivated and have videotapes and sometimes Zoom calls from experts around the world that can motivate you to your highest self. I'm even going to reach out to Bishop Smith, who's a clinical psychologist, and be able to motivate my staff and have a person at the front desk that bring in people and appointments and what have you, and be able to be first class as the only one in the entire city. Valet parking when you come on the parking lot. He goes from several 100,000 to millions a year because he was not allowing anybody to break stride and stop his momentum, his vision, his faith, his confidence in a God that promises to supply all of your need. All you need to do is have a need, and God promised to supply it. Now I want to tell you, there's greater things in store for Temple of Faith Deliverance. And while I questioned God about this moment of coming, I responded by invitation because Dr. Slack is a confidant. But in this moment, I prayed last night and prayed this morning, God, tell me what to say and then tell me how to say it. I want to be a blessing to the people because sometimes we never look internal. We're always looking outside the picture window of life. But sometimes you got to look at the resources you have, the intelligence you have, the multiplicity of gifts and talents and abilities that's already there. You're praying for something that God has already answered. You're asking God to do something when he's already equipped you to be able to do it. And all you need to do is just break from the ranks of satisfaction, self-indulgence, and move forward what God has given you corporately and individually. This church has great leadership, and you can't ignore that, but you can't cubicalize that leadership so that it's limited and becomes minuscule and minute with great potentialities and great outcomes and futuristic engagement. You just can't stop that from happening. Dr. Slack decided he would go back to school and finish his doctorate and did so. And I became one of the alter egos by which he presented both to me and his professor, the one that helped guide him through the process of doctoral finality. And then to see the strides of being pulled all over the country and around the world to speak to men and families and disenfranchised people. But how do you house that if the local church can't feel it, see it, experience it through him so that you can become an adjunct to what God is doing through he and his wife? And great is yet to happen. Greater is on the horizon. Better things are here for you. But you got to lift your head up. Stop looking at your shoes because you're going to run into something. You need to hold your head up. Not so high until all you see is clouds and stars, the sun and the moon. But you need to look up enough to be able to look out and behold the manner of God. I came to remind you that God has given you momentum. And even though there are forces adverse against your movement, don't stop moving. Don't stop believing. Don't stop having. Don't stop the stride. Greater is yet to happen. I never could have known as a child of 5 years old. I told God yes. The church said no. I told God yes. The church said no. No, because you're too young. No, because we don't believe you. No, and understand, but I was an old spirit. I knew far beyond my years. And then finally, at age 7, on the first Sunday of February, 1954, I had my public opportunity to say what God had given me to say. And from then to now, I've been moving and trusting and believing that God can do anything but fail. And much of what you see is what God has already done. But is he a God that's only relegated to the past? Is he a God that's only relegated to the moment? Or is he a God that is both past, present, and future? And that same God is here for you today and tell you, you have work to do. You got ministry to do. You got lives to touch. You got things to accomplish. You got blessings that's on hold. And if you get there, God will bless you. I leave with this by saying that the Israelites could have never gotten to Canaan if they hadn't left Egypt. And some folks still got an Egypt mentality. You're satisfied with onion. You're satisfied with just the stuff of the past. When God got milk and honey reserved with your name on it. Are you ready? Stand to your feet, everybody. I think I've said enough. I got to go to Knoxville and preach again at 3 o'clock. But I want Temple of Faith to know I believe in you. I want you to know I believe in your leader. I believe in your future. I believe in the quality, phenomenal things that God has in store for you. I want you to get ready. And I want you to see God through this and know that God is on your side. And then you must make that personal declaration, as did Paul. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Would you say it? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Are you ready? Father, this is your people. Thank you for the opportunity granted me through this pastor. Come and share your heart for them, your love for them, your commitment to them, and that the future is much brighter than they could have ever imagined. Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all we ask or think, according to the power that works in us. Bless this ministry. Bless the minister. Bless the staff. Bless each one. Move on the heart of this people. Let them see the curtains pulled and behold the brightness of their future. This church will engage communities. This church will make impact. This church will cause lives to be changed. This church is going to be noted as one of the premier ministries of this city and vicinity, because this is a transitional time as they move into that brilliant, bright future that shall give glory and honor to the God of our salvation. And so it is. And as I prepare to leave, if there's a person here that don't know Jesus in the pardon of your sin, have not asked him to forgive you, this is your time to come. The Lord loves you with an everlasting love. He promises to save you from the guttermost to the uttermost. If you believe in your heart and confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, thou shalt be saved. If you're a backslider, realize, Lord, I'm coming back home. I need you in my life. Or if you're just weary, worn, and sad with the vicissitudes of life, just tired. I love the Lord, just tired. I come to church, just tired. I pay my tithe. I support, but I'm just tired, Bishop. You just don't know. I'm tired. Lord can give you strength and invigoration. Bless you beyond measure. If you'll come, we'll pray the prayer